Hello, this is Logan Williams here on October 15th with A Day in History. Over the years, October 15th has been quite a significant day, seeing pivotal moments in sports, politics, and the fabric of time itself. Undoubtedly reaching a zenith in 1990 with the birth of yours truly, this day, which lies in the epicenter of vividly colorful North American autumns, stretches consistently across the centuries and even survives the momentary termination of 10 of its preceding neighbors in 1582. That was the year when Pope Gregory VIII instituted the Gregorian calendar to make amends for the 11 extra minutes per year in the then used Julian calendar. The decree signed by Gregory on February 24th stated that along with an alteration in the use of leap years, October 15th would follow directly after October 4th in that year, skipping the 10 days in between. The Pope's modification was immediately adopted in Italy, Poland, Portugal, and Spain, while other nations using the Julian system eventually followed suit. Russia and Greece hesitated, believe it or not, up until the 20th century when they had to skip 13 days to fall in step with the rest. October 15th had another significant place in history on the way into the 20th century. On this day in 1894, Alfred Dreyfus, a French Alsatian Jew, was arrested, kicking off the infamous Dreyfus Affair. Dreyfus was wrongly accused of treason, but was nevertheless exiled to Devil's Island in French Guiana, while the true leaky faucet in the French military's plumbing remained at large. However, in the next few years, Ferdinand Esterhazy's guilt and Alfred Dreyfus's innocence gradually became a public affair. With the help of a newspaper printing a strong demand for justice, Dreyfus was finally reinstated to his military office in 1906. To this day, the episode is noted as one of the classic cases of overt anti-Semitism in the events leading up to the Holocaust. 40 years later, one of the men most responsible for the horrific murders of millions of Jews met his end. Hermann Goering was a World War I fighter pilot hero who was set in command of the Luftwaffe German Air Force in 1935. At the end of World War II, Goering was among those tried and convicted for both war crimes and crimes against humanity during the Nuremberg trials. On October 15, 1946, the day before he was to fulfill his sentence to be hanged, Hermann Goering committed suicide by ingesting cyanide. More lightly noted, 365 days before my entrance to this world, the Great One did something great. Canadian-born hockey player Wayne Gretzky is virtually unanimously regarded as the greatest player in the history of the sport, and proved it on this day in history. On October 15, 1989, Gretzky scored his 1,851st career goal to become the National Hockey League's all-time leading scorer and overtake his idol Gordie Howe. A prodigy in the fullest sense of the word, Gretzky went on to score 2,857 goals in his career, which still remains roughly 1,000 more goals beyond the nearest mark. A year later, in the 10th month, on the 15th day, in the year of our Lord 1990, a baby boy came into the world. Henceforth, that day would be annually celebrated as the day of birth of that boy, Logan Williams. In 1991, Clarence Thomas was confirmed as the Supreme Court Justice to replace the first black man to serve on the bench, Justice Thurgood Marshall. Himself an African American, Thomas graduated from Yale and sits as one of the more conservative judges on the court. His hearings and confirmation were hard-fought and included allegations of sexual harassment from Anita Hill, an attorney Thomas worked alongside in the Department of Education. Our final and most recent event of note occurred in 2007. This year, on October 13th, the Nebraska Cornhusker football team lost their homecoming football game to Oklahoma State by a score of 45-14. This was the breaking point in a long disappointing slide into the very mediocrity that athletic director Steve Peterson vowed to defend the program against. Since hiring head coach Bill Callahan in 2004, the team's record was 26-18 and was in the process of sustaining its second losing season in 4 years. On that fateful 15th, NU Chancellor Harvey Perlman removed Peterson of his duties and took the Huskers down a road that has resulted in 3 straight seasons of 9 or more wins under new head coach Bo Pelini and a return to the national scene among the elites of NCAA Division I college football. This has been Logan Williams with A Day in History on this October 15th. Thank you, and God bless.